Danny Acosta for Fight Magazine here with the creator of ECW.
Why my eyes are red. I think I've been hanging out with Rob Van Dam.
Well, will you tell us?
I'm crying, man. I mean, my best friend just got off he was on his deathbed 9 months ago, and I thought it was over in the first round, and I think Josh Rosenthal deserves just a ton of credit for good officiating because, he asked Brock once, do you want to stop? And he asked him a second time. Brock says, no, I'm not stopping. And Brock kept moving. And, but if it was Steve Mazzagatti, the fight would have been stopped, and it wasn't stopped. It was good officiating. And then Brock showed who he is, and he showed who he has evolved into being as a mixed martial artist. And, it has everything that he says, believe me, is understated because he's not going to give you all of his emotion. And he's come back from his deathbed. And his wife is pregnant, and they're going to have a baby in 2 weeks. So imagine how he's feeling right now. And that first round was the scariest moments of my life. And then he comes back and he chokes Carwin out. I mean, my God, I couldn't be more proud of my friend than if I was doing it myself. And I'm not man enough to do it myself, so I'm sure glad it was him doing it.
And having gone through that experience with Brock, with him being on his deathbed, when you were watching him in trouble inside the cage, did you know there's no way that he will quit?
Oh, no, he wasn't going to quit. Oh, no. I thought he could have been pounded into unconsciousness, but he wasn't tapping. There was no way he was going to tap, and there was no way that he was going to make it easy for Carwin to knock him into unconsciousness. He was going to keep fighting until Carwin knocked him into unconsciousness, and Carwin was going to have to blast through Brock's defense to get him into unconsciousness. Listen, they said he doesn't have a chin. Those people can shut the fuck up now. They said he can't take punishment. Those people can shut the fuck up now. He took the best Carwin had to offer, and he then choked him out. And I'll give Carwin, my God, I mean, you talk about credit. I mean, he held his own wrestling, Brock. He was outstriking him in the first round. I mean, Carwin, my God, what an animal, I mean, and I look forward to seeing his next fight, but not quite as much as I look forward to seeing Brock Lesnar's next fight.
Can you tell us about what it was like last night? Brock mentioned here at the post-fight press conference, you guys watched his last match with Bill Goldberg, and the other side of Brock Lesnar, the guy who just hangs out and, isn't that stern figure that we all see.
Oh, no, he's that stern figure, but, I mean, he's everything that you see inside that cage, and he is a driven, focused, obsessive athlete, and he wants to be the best in the world. His motivation for being the best in the world, though, is to feed his family. It's not ego-driven, because now he goes home, and now he becomes a husband and a father. And he's not going to be sitting there and watching all himself in all his glory, because his glory is going to be to play with his son, Turk, and to watch his wife give birth to his new son in a couple weeks. So what it was like last night, we just kept it real loose around him. I mean, when you're somebody's friend, and I've learned this from my friends, the best way to be someone's friend is to say, listen, if you need me to just get out of your way, I'm out of your way. You want me to be with you, I'm with you. I'll give you as much space as you want, and I'll be here as close as you want me to be. And he just wanted to be surrounded by people that cared about him and that he cared about. And Bill Goldberg came over with his wonderful, wonderful wife, Wanda. And we all had dinner, and, the whole team was there. And then we just watched some TV and, kept it real loose. And then he just did some stretching and went to bed, And it's been that way this whole week. He really didn't kick. What he did this week more than any other week was that he paced his energy. Usually a couple days before the fight, I'll talk to him on the phone and be like, yeah, how you doing? And this week he was loose up until about 10 minutes before we got to the arena when we hit traffic. And then, you started to hear him he started to clear his throat, and, hey, okay, it's kicking in, huh? Yeah, hope they get out of our way soon, okay, but that's him as an athlete. He's a game day player, and more so than any other time in his life this week, he was a game day player.
Brock Lesnar versus Cain Velasquez is the next fight for Brock. Give us your thoughts.
My thoughts are Cain Velasquez is a different type of fighter than Shane Carwin. I mean, he is every bit the wrestler that anybody else in the UFC is. And he's a very interesting guy. He brings a different dynamic to the octagon. And so Brock's training will be different for Cain Velasquez than it was for Shane Carwin. Shane Carwin looked to me like to be about 280 pounds. And obviously the strategy behind that was for him to not get muscled around by Brock and to push Brock up against the cage. And I'll give Shane Carwin and his team all the credit in the world. That's exactly what they did. He did defend himself well against Brock in the first round, and he was going with Brock muscle for muscle, and he got him up against the cage. And I mean, you got to give him all the credit in the world for that. You got to give Brock all the credit in the world for surviving it and coming back and choking him out. Velasquez is different. Velasquez is much faster than Shane Carwin, and he's a much more dangerous wrestler in certain ways than Shane Carwin, and his defense is different than Shane Carwin. So I think the thing that has happened here with Brock is he has the best team in the world. Marty Morgan's the best coach. As much as you talk about in football, it would be Bill Parcells, or all the legendary coaches in baseball, and I think Marty's there because Marty has taken his NCAA heavyweight champion, and that's his star athlete, and he's a head coach. Compredo. I mean, where do you think that choke came from? It came from Compredo. Where do you think the half crucifix against Frank Mir came from? It came from Compredo. Peter Welch has made all the difference in the world. I mean, Peter Welch is just, has added speed and a stance and everything else to Brock's game. And there are so many members of that team, and they all deserve just a ton of credit because each one of them plays a pivotal part. And that's also a lot of credit to Brock because he put together he spends more money on his team than any fighter in the world. There's no boxer that has this many people around him. He has a Brazilian jiu-jitsu coach. He has a strength and conditioning coach. He has a boxing coach in Peter Welch. He has Marty running the whole show. I mean, my God, how many people does this guy have on payroll,
Any last word for fans?
Which fans are we talking about? Are we talking about wrestling fans? Are we talking about UFC fans? Well, it seems like all the wrestling fans are coming over to the UFC. And with Brock Lesnar here, who can really blame them?
Paul Heyman.